might have to log in on my laptop.
You can't see it?
No, not that much.
Avoiding a fight is a mark of honor. Only a foolish person wants to argue. Disagreement is inevitable. Arguing is a choice. Disagreements happen in relationships. Whether or not y'all yell at each other and cuss at each other, though, that's a choice. Disrespect is a choice. Disregard is a choice. So we have disagreements, but how we approach the disagreement speaks to our level of maturity. And if I'm not mature enough to be silent to allow you to speak your side of it and listen, not to speak, but to understand, then I increase and heighten the possibility of contention among us. I'm not listening to speak again. I'm listening to understand, even if I disagree with you. So he says, if you avoid arguments, you're actually wise, which means I'm trying to figure out how to diffuse it so that it doesn't heighten to a higher level. But a person who insists on quarreling, the Bible calls you foolish. Avoiding a fight is a mark of honor. Only a foolish person wants to argue. Disagreement.
All right. I hope y'all heard that, got that long ass message. I wish Cassandra was on here, bro, because that was a pastor, bro. So you know, her alley.
Pastor Cassandra.
Yeah. So I want to know any thoughts on that. Disagreements. I guess the person when you're trying to I don't want to say that. Well, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, the one thing that stood out to me, there's a couple things to unpack, but I'll start with what I disagreed with. And that was towards the end when he said avoiding arguments. Someone who avoids arguments is actually wise. Not saying I think there's a layer to it, because you can avoid an argument, like an actual argument, but still address the issue and the manner in which you approach the person where it doesn't turn into an argument.
I think that's what he was saying.
I think that's what he means. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, yes, I agree with that. I just don't want it to be kind of like twisted or turned into not addressing issues because you're avoiding an argument. Because there's a lot of people who do that, like, because they don't want to argue or they think it's going to turn into an argument. They don't address something that's an issue, and then that issue kind of builds and builds, etc. So, I
think the point he was trying to make it was like you're not necessarily avoiding the argument. You just like actually listening to the person, paying attention to what they're saying, and trying to get to the root of the problem so you can actually solve it. You feel me? Y'all communicate. You feel me? Pretty much what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and I do think that's a level of maturity that one would have to reach, because I just also think we never really saw proper conflict resolution growing up. So we kind of just mimic what we know or have what we've experienced. So I do think once you reach a certain level of maturity or growth within yourself and start to realize that the things that you were once doing is probably not the best way to handle certain situations. And I do think that's like, a certain level of maturity that you reach, however you get there.
I like that. What say you, Salacious Mona?
Yeah, I'm like kind of like that person that even though I'll have like a pointless argument with friends, but like when it comes to serious issues, I don't like to go back and forth. So I just like I won't bring it up because I'm like I don't want to say anything that I probably will regret later, and I don't want to argue. Like I'm really not someone that likes negativity, so I would rather a healthy conversation about a disagreement versus arguing and then it goes left into things that don't even matter. So I agree with you don't have to have an argument to, when you have conflict with somebody. You can have a healthy conversation. But it does take a lot of maturity and you have to tap into a whole nother level to be that person. You can't, like, everyone isn't at that point in their lives.
So how do you deal with, like, so you're someone that, likes to avoid arguments and would rather have a healthy conversation. But what if you're having an issue with someone that or you're just not going to be able to have a healthy conversation with because they're not going to receive it well? No matter which way you deliver it, they're not going to receive it well. What do you do with that person? Do you just avoid the issue?
Oh,
Or
I just accept them for who they are, and it's my decision if I want to like continue whatever relationship or interaction with them.
Yeah.
Because at some point I will bring it up. However, if it's like basically the react, like you're just not receptive, or you're not receptive, or you're not seeing things from my point of view, I'm just gonna accept for it is what it is. Either I'm gonna decide if I need if I want to stay in your life, or if I'm just gonna just back away from it. Because at the end of the day, like I'm all about, like, I need positive people and energy around me, and you know, it's either change your outlook or change your environment. It is what it is. To me, that's just me.
No, I think it's cool as long as the issue is still addressed, because sometimes people don't even know that you have an issue with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think like you give them the benefit of the doubt of like addressing the issue, and then if you don't see any change, or you do see they get defensive and all that stuff, then yeah, you move accordingly at that point.
Yeah. A lot of times I have to ask myself, well, did you bring it? Did you even say anything to the person? Because I know a lot of times, a lot of us women, we think people are mind readers sometimes. And it's like, well, you should have just read how I was. No, like, you should have just seen my face, or seen how it made me feel, or like sensed it. And I'm like, yeah, no, we're fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Can y'all sense stuff off other people?
Sometimes I can see, like, times when an attitude shifts in a person, and it doesn't even matter if I know them or not. Like, you can kind of sense, you can kind of
maybe, but I'm saying maybe that's why y'all because maybe that's how y'all move. Y'all thinking, okay, this is how people supposed to move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when niggas don't understand that shit, you feel me, y'all?
Yeah. Like, imagine, like, just think back on some conversations you had with your wife, and you guys were in the same environment, and how she perceived how it went and how you received how it went. And then it's like, sometimes you're like, damn, you didn't see when she made that face when so-and-so started talking. And later on you hear like, oh yeah, something was, different. So I don't know.
Yeah. I guess y'all got some kind of sensory.
I think I'm pretty good at picking up like energies or vibes from people based on like their body movement or body language, or like, but then I also think sometimes I'm very oblivious to that, where I just be in my own world.
I think you're more like, you catch vibes, but I think you're more oblivious to like dangerous situations. And I think that's where I pick up at, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand those dangerous situations, because my perception more is on danger, you know what I'm saying? So yours is more on like,
because when we go some places, I'm like, Shirley, if she thinks we're overreacting, I'm like, but no, why would we are sitting on the side of the road. I don't want to put my purse right here, or my wallet right on the side where someone walking up can grab it. And Shirley's like, y'all got some trauma from living in the hood.
No, bro, it's danger, man.
No. I hope you're not raising them kids to be that. Like,
yes, y'all do.
No,
Mona. Every time you walk by, you clutching your purse. You like, people don't want to rob. Everybody don't want to rob you.
We're vulnerable. You crazy.
I really feel like, because we grew up in totally different areas. Again, like where I grew up, we used to leave our door unlocked, garage open all night. Like we didn't have no issues. And y'all over here, I guess, hearing gunshots and shit. Like,
we drove up to Orlando. We drove up to Orlando for her brother was hosting Thanksgiving this year. We drove up. They ain't even at the house yet. You know what I'm saying? Garage door wide open. You feel me, dog? Like, I'm like, what?
Ain't no way. Ain't no
this shit there. You feel me? Bikes and all types of raw ass shit.
Was
you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, y'all just cool, just leaving shit wide open?
Nope.
And was anything missing?
Nah,
exactly.
Right now.
That's because y'all grew up in the hood. Y'all don't trust nobody.
Nope. I was at my I went to a Christmas thing yesterday at my coworker's house, and she was like, they were all Hispanic and white. I was the only black person there. And she was like, yeah, something. She was saying how her neighbor wasn't came to check out her house because she cleaned. I said, you let your neighbor in your house. I said, they was looking at the layout. They was looking at the TVs. They were looking at this and where all the cameras for the system are. And they were looking at me like, God damn, just relax. Like, she just came in. I said, nah, my neighbor wouldn't be in my house.
See, paranoia, bruh. Paranoia. Y'all got some trauma from where y'all grew up at. Why is that the first thing that you think of? A neighbor comes to the house, the first thing you think is they scoping out the layout to come rob you later? What?
Hey, you gotta be ready, stay ready,
Lord.
get ready.
They
That's
getting
funny
the
as fuck.
blueprints to come and rob you.
Yep.
That's funny as fuck.
Y'all, man, trauma.
That's funny.
That was that deep side trauma. I feel bad for y'all.
I feel bad for you because when you get shooken up, you gonna be
Because you unaware, man. You feel me? You just
real scared.
la peaches and
Yup.
rainbows.
Yup.
No, because I don't live in those environments. Never have and never will.
All right. Sorry, Cliff.
Oh man, that's funny.
But
All right,
I do be oblivious to danger. I ain't gonna lie, because
Hmm?
when we go out of town, like when we travel, I be wanting to go to the hoods. I be like, let's go to Compton, let's go to Watts. Like I be want to do
Unnecessary. Unnecessary.
Well, all right, host. Keep it going.
So I would agree that you are supposed to. Well, I'm supposed to what? Move on to
You didn't answer the question.
Yeah, you didn't answer.
You didn't answer.
Oh, okay. No. I mean, I thought I made a statement already. I said pretty much I agree that you gotta be able to have a certain kind of a level of discernment or like review of yourself to be able to pick and choose battles that you actually want to like get in heated debates about, or stuff that you can just solve with just actually listening to somebody and just talking to them. But I think one of y'all had brought up another question. What was it? What if the person is not at the level to where they actually can accept it? Like and I think Mona said she'll keep it or just leave that person or
accept them for who they are.
Accept them from who they are. Like, what about you, Shalom Motion?
I'm a very vocal person. I will accept you for who you are, but I will directly tell you what my issue is with you. And but I will say there has been times where I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna say nothing because it's not even worth it. So or I also be like, you know what, I'm not gonna say nothing because I know if I say something and depending on their reaction, that's gonna end this friendship. So I've been at that level too. So I don't know. I think it just depends on the person for me, and it depends on how important that friendship is for me, really, to be honest. So like if it's something that, and then it depends on how big of the issue is too. So if it's like a really big issue and this person is very important to me, then yes, I'm going to address it and I'm going to continuously address it because that person is very important to me. But if it's not that big, you know what I mean? Like for me, it just depends on the situation.
If it's worth it to you or not.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're in the pros and cons.
Yeah. Because everybody don't get the same from you. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody don't get the same energy or same love from you across the board. You know, like that's just reality. So everybody don't get the same amount of energy, time, reality.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I was gonna say something, but I forgot now. It was good too.